What's up, everybody? Jordan Miller here with Run to Gun. Here with my friend again, Dustin Luebke. We did a podcast last week. Doing it again this week. Both had a little extra time. And it's that time of year where we're kind of in those group texts. We're talking nonstop back and forth. I think I spent a majority of my day yesterday between Dustin and Matt on my phone texting about some form of application, some form of new proposal that's come out, some form of hunting topic. And there's been a lot of the last few days between Nevada hunt apps being due, Kentucky elk, Montana apps, Idaho were due last night. And so a lot of stuff going on. And then obviously the South Dakota, the big game like elk, sheep, goat, apps are all open.
The 25th of May that closes.
That closes
up.
up.
And I did email them yesterday, and we'll get the results June 5th, which is really cool.
Yeah.
To get them that quick. Also, and that's going to be when rifle deer applications open up. So you'll be able to know if you how much hunting you want to do. If you actually draw those tags.
Exactly.
What tags you draw and what hunts you want to focus on.
Right, what kind of time you have this year. So always exciting with that. Obviously, we learned this morning too about some proposal changes. South Dakota archery. Obviously, we saw the big South Dakota rifle changes put into place this year. We'll get into that in another podcast. We kind of have a group of guys that will probably kind of roundtable and talk about that. And we'll probably at that time when we do that be able to actually talk about some of these archery proposals that we just learned about this morning. And maybe have more information on that. So what are they proposing here this morning?
So the first one is kind of an all-around proposal for getting rid of the statewide, or no, going with the statewide.
Yes.
Getting rid of the East and West River archery tag. So going with a single tag versus being able to get two tags.
Yep. Right now you technically have three options, right? You can get a West River archery tag, an East River archery tag, or a statewide archery tag. So it sounds like something that was brought up was making it you're getting one tag.
Yeah.
Kind of thing versus multiple.
Which I think that, in my opinion, that affects the resident hunters more. I know myself, that's what I do. I buy a West River archery tag, and I generally go after mule deer West River.
Yep.
East River, I generally go after whitetail.
Yep.
So, if
you are one of the guys that gets two every year.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
I know Matt does too. He's every year he doubles up. Very seldom harvests two, but
I have not got that lucky yet.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yep. Usually one or the other. Nice option to have the two.
It is.
And then we saw with the archery, one of the proposals as well, for non-residents. A lot of maybe some changes there for non-resident hunting.
Yeah, there was like 4 different proposals. So
there's a lot on that sheet.
Yes. I know on the one thread that I was looking at that was really popular was putting a cap or a percentage of the licenses to non-residents.
Yep.
I know Jordan and I both have really seen an uptick in the number of non-resident archery hunters because South Dakota is one of those states where it's a guaranteed draw tag.
Yep, you just come over, it's over the counter essentially. You have to put in, but it's guaranteed technically over the counter. Over the last 4 years we do all of our hunting out west, myself. That's where I'm from. And so huge uptick in archery hunting from out-of-staters the last few years. We've really felt the pressure of it for sure. So I'm actually kind of excited about hearing about some caps there. I'm hoping they make it like a per unit, a certain amount of tags per unit. I'm really hoping so it's not just like a West River archery tag. I hope that they actually make it a county per unit cap is what I'm kind of hoping for. And granted, I might change my mind on that depending on what proposals say. So we're still learning. We're still waiting to kind of hear more about some of these things, and we'll probably dive pretty deep into these subjects here in the next month with a group of guys and really discuss pluses and minuses to all these changes, all these proposals. What it means for South Dakota hunting, what it means for non-resident hunting, just the pluses and minuses of it. Because obviously, once stuff starts changing, it's really hard, obviously, to reverse. And usually when stuff starts changing, you see continual more and more changes.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're seeing right now. So we'll see if it's a positive or a negative. We'll know more in the future. It's really hard to foresight some of it. We've sat down and kind of predicted what we think is going to happen on some things, and so far we're seeing some of those things happen, which is kind of funny. So we'll dive probably deeper into that.
And that's one of the things that you start realizing when you start applying for these different states. Just why guys pick that South Dakota tag.
Yeah.
Because it's guaranteed, because it's a fallback tag
right.
for a lot of the guys that are closer around, because there's some states where it's preference points and you'll get an archery tag every third year, or depending on what unit you're in, it's going to take, some of those like Utah and Idaho guys, it's like 7-8 years to get on there, and then that's not talking about like the Arizona Strip or the
Yeah, you never, and that's the thing is like you look at all these states, and I apply for most of them now. How long the wait is for non-residents, even the residents. Like I talked to Justin in New Mexico, that we talked a little bit about that state in our last podcast, how it's a no preference point state, which in some cases you can kind of get excited about because you always have a chance, but in other cases it can be a bummer. Like Justin called me after I drew another elk tag down there, and he's like, "Man, how do you keep doing this?" He's like, "You're so lucky," and I'm like, "Dude, I know it's like super lucky." He's like, "Dude, I can't even get my wife to draw a tag. Like it's been years since in their residence down there." So it's like with changes, you always have to kind of be wary and just really look at how it can affect the big picture. I mean, some states are tough to draw. Other states, like if you're a resident in Idaho, it's a they want everybody to draw a tag. You know what I mean? So there's better draw odds and certain things that you can draw. You're looking at different quality of animals depending on how states are running their systems. Yeah. So there's always a lot to think about.
I think Montana's that same way too. It's pretty much over the counter for residents.
For a lot there. For some and obviously in some, even for non-residents, in some of the general licenses that you can pick, great opportunity, for hunting. So some states are kind of mixed between that, an opportunity style state and an application style preference or bonus point that can be very challenging to draw. Montana is kind of one of those confusing states that has a little bit of everything. If there's a state that wants to confuse you out there, it's definitely Montana.
Wyoming and Colorado, reading on them, they have like, this is how our application works, and you read through, you're like, okay, I get it. And some of those other ones, it's like, holy cow, I am twisted in 8 different directions.
Well, and for you, that's been a fun thing for you because you're really getting into researching some of the other states. You're a big podcast guy now, where you're learning stuff on other podcasts, and so for you, that's been probably a fun last 2 years for you to kind of dig deep into that.
Yeah, and you definitely know what states you want to put in for, what states. And the other thing too is getting preference points in the states you can get preference points. Those don't even open in some of those states till July. Yeah. So you're not thinking about preference points and drawing anymore in July. You're thinking of celebrating Independence Day and grilling burgers and eating watermelon.
Yeah, like Wyoming, and I think Montana as well is July this year. I might be mistaken on that, but I know Wyoming is July 1st. And Montana usually has that period as well in there where, like this year I didn't even take up space on my card for my elk deer combo in Montana. Because I just knew I wasn't planning on going. I knew the unit that I wanted to hunt's more like a 10-year unit. So I'm like, cool, I just have to put a reminder on my phone that, August rolls around, I need to be purchasing those points.
And that's kind of what I was looking at this year with drawing that Barbary sheep and the oryx. I was obviously put in for South Dakota elk that you do every year.
Yep.
Just cross your fingers, you get that one. But just getting the preference points, and I was hoping I could just grab all the preference points and not worry about it, but you really can't. So, you set the reminder.
All the reminders on the phones.
The other cool thing I learned was I'm starting to get the emails for the White Sands Missile Range tag that I drew, and you start figuring out more about it. And I kind of went into it thinking, oh, cool, the oryx, that's a cool animal to hunt. I'd like to hunt that one. And then you start reading up on them and watching some YouTube stuff, and you watch and getting these letters and how strict it is getting on the missile range.
It's insane.
And you have to go through checkpoints. It's a once in a lifetime tag. I didn't know that.
Really cool.
So, and then your draw odds are way less than 1% for this on the range tag. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Yeah. So it's kind of neat. So I'm putting more of my eggs in that basket now, which
that was a ton of the text yesterday too. Was we were talking about that. that hunt, different different rifle options that you would been exploring between what you have, if you needed to make the switch, if you're just gonna roll with what you have, different things like that. And even like now we're looking into, as we're drawing some of these tags, what are the gear needs, different gear options that you've used in the past. What are you needing different for the upcoming year? Always fun stuff to start exploring.
Yeah, definitely boots and shoes. Hunting boots in South Dakota versus hunting boots for a mountain versus hunting boots for a desert are totally different. Things you don't really think about. And temps too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if you're rocking, like I'm a guy who rocks an uninsulated light boot for everything, just because all my hunts are pretty similar. But I start getting to the late season and I'm like, oh, I wish I owned like a Canatrek Mountain Extreme with like 400 gram thin slate just to get a little extra warmth, because I'm like doubling up on big old thick socks and my uninsulated ones. But I'm like, do I want to spend the extra money on a second pair of boots? But certain hunts, it's like you do need to bite the bullet, because that comfortability can be super key to enjoying that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've found over the years. If your hands and your feet and your neck are warm, you're good to go. So yeah, I try and keep the little hot hands in my pack. And the feet are the hard part, because if you have to hike in anywhere, or even tree stand hunting, you walk into your tree stand, if you got big pack boots on,
you're heating up.
Yep, getting a little sweaty. Then you go jump on that stand, and that metal stand just sucks the heat right out of your feet.
Yep.
So then I started taking like a little heat, what it's called, like a hot seat or something like that. Just a foam pad that's supposed to heat up when you sit on it. Okay. Well, I actually just paracorded it to the base of the tree stand, so I can just rest my feet on that, and it helps. Nothing's
gives you a little egg,
gives you an extra
time.
hour up in there.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, as far as like another thing I was thinking of is food. What's in your pack when you go out?
Oh yeah, that's a good question, man. I like that. So it's funny how like that's evolved so much over the years too for what we've done. It used to be where I wouldn't even have a backpack out hunting, and I would just take the rifle out and go. Like when I was younger, it's crazy how you maybe have a little something in your truck, but we never used to take backpack hunting. Yep. And then we as we started getting into more of this, excursion style exploration, going to these new places, sitting in all day. It's really changed and evolved. And even from then, like this type of food, like I've had years where I like season 3 and maybe even season 4 that we filmed, I like lived on trail mix and Pop-Tarts, dude. Like out in the field, I think it was it was light, but it was high calorie.
Yep.
And it was just easy day pack or like 2-day pack style food. And I mean, I was getting in a lot of carbs in it and a lot of fats in it. Obviously not enough protein is where I was hurting. And now it's like this last year, we like really even joined that whole jet boil game a little bit, just because we're filmed with season 6, and it's like from season 1 through 5, I felt like we just did whatever we could to survive, wherever was convenient. Yep. And you get to the end of the year and you're like so burnt, like you're done with it. Like I can't even look at trail mix or Pop-Tarts anymore. And so this year, we finally kind of invested, bought some jet boils, started buying some of the freeze-dried meals, and honestly, like just the morale that helped, like on those full days sitting out in the cold, or even where you're hiking out and we change locations midday, just to have that back of the truck if you're just midday in it. So nice to get in an actual, quote unquote, actual meal that fills the stomach, warms you up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that same thing has evolved. I mean, when we were out rifle hunting 5 years ago, that, you'd see a guy come across in a pheasant vest with a rifle, and he's using his rifle
as a scope,
as his binoculars,
or as
and you're like, okay, this guy's 2.5 miles back in. What if he shoots something? What's he gonna do? Drag it 2.5 miles?
Right.
And then that goes along with your pack. I sometimes will criticize myself for packing in too heavy.
Sure.
But I know when you shoot something, you need that water. Like you get a little bit of adrenaline rush. You start deboning meat and packing out, and you run out of water. That is awful.
Well, it's actually funny that you bring that up too, because it's like if you go out for a day or two, you can kind of get away with getting a little dehydrated out in the field and making it through. But if you're hunting for several days in a row and like you're hunting that November, like South Dakota, where you're hunting that November and you're hunting some public land where you're putting on some miles, or even if you're a mile guy on private land, you like to hike, and you put on some miles and then you sit out in the cold all day. You're really not thinking about being thirsty, and you don't drink much for a couple days. And especially if you're out somewhere in one of the bigger Western hunting states, dude, like you're gonna start paying for it day 3 and 4 and 5. Like that's when
you're gonna slow down, definitely.
Packing that water.
Yep, definitely slow down. Leg cramps and muscle aches are really gonna creep in.
Yeah.
And I know, a few of the guys that I've hunted with, when you get back to the camp or wherever you're staying, they really like to crack open a beer or mix themselves a drink, which is great, but that even dehydrates you even more.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to save that for when the actual harvest happens and then you're done.
Yeah.
For a celebration, because you don't realize, by that day 3, 4, how dehydrated you are. And if you spot an animal in a spotting scope and you got to go a ways and you don't have a 4-wheeler to jump on, or you got to go after it, you want to be able to go after it and not be limited by your dehydration.
Right. And so it's like with all this new style, I quote unquote new style, it's just the progressiveness of how, hunting has kind of turned into now, and what more guys are getting out there and putting on foot miles, which is awesome. It's just like little extra things to think about to enjoy the hunt more, enjoy more days of hunting without any soreness, and just perform better out there. And that does barrel down to food and hydration, really. Beyond, if you're looking beyond just normal physical readiness, like food and hydration play, they're the biggest role.
Yep.
I mean, it's insane. Like you're gonna be on less sleep. Those are just things you're gonna have to deal with that are a little different. Food and hydration are what's going to keep that performance, that morale.
Weight's a big thing. Weight of food, trail mix is heavy. Some guys say, but you're getting a lot of different nutrients in that.
Exactly.
You're getting some sugars in there also, which if you're gonna eat super clean and no sugar, yada yada, you kind of need that stuff. You can't just go away from all that when you're out hunting.
Oh yeah, dude, I look to simple sugar sources extremely frequently on hunts and hikes, just because it's quick, fast energy. You're not if you're putting on any type of miles at all, you're not going to be storing any of that as fat. You're going to be using that as fuel so fast. So it's always key. And that's why I've always turned to trail mix so much, because it is nutrient dense in the form of carbohydrates, fats, and obviously you're getting protein as well. It's plant-based protein, so the absorption isn't quite as high as what you would be getting from like a normal meat source protein, but you're still getting all 3 macronutrients. So it is a good option.
Yeah, jerky is another thing that you have to be careful with, in my opinion, and jerky is how salty it is. Because with that, you need that salt, but you're going to drink more water. So then you got to carry more water. Dude,
it is. It's totally that double-edged sword, because like you need those electrolytes, that extra sodium. Like I always take an extra sodium on rigorous adventures, things like that. But it's like with that, like you are a little bit more thirsty. So it's like that double-edged sword of what to take.
It's good for a day. If you're just going out for a day where you're going to stay all day and come back in the evening, that's something good.
Yep.
I have not done a whole lot of like multiple day outings where you're hiking in and camping. South Dakota, we have a few spots like the grasslands and the Black Hills where you can actually hike in and you can camp out there.
Right.
But on most of the stuff, it's not legal to camp out there, and it's dry a lot of the time, so you're not going to be starting a fire.
No,
and
exactly.
A lot of that's private land through access.
Yep, through the walk-in
program. Yep. So you really don't want to be ruining that with starting bonfires out in somebody's pasture.
Oh gosh, that'd be terrible, dude. Yeah, and you can't legally camp in those.
No.
So it's just different style of. That's where the Black Hills is pretty cool, because you can do that. But even then, there's fire restrictions there.
Yeah, depending on what time of year it is and how dry it is.
Yep.
You don't want to be that guy either.
Dude, no. And honestly, I think the jet boil has been just like it's an extra enjoyment, man. That was huge for us this year. We're definitely going to be exploring more options with that this coming year.
As far as like weight, what's that? What's it weigh?
Not much.
Not much.
Not much at all. Like I'm actually unsure on the specific way, but we just get the small canister, the mini canisters of fuel, and the weight of the actual Jetboil, like the can and stuff, like it all just kind of folds into each other, so it takes up, this much room in the pack. So not much. You buy the nice little extended long plastic forks that don't weigh anything, spoon fork, the spork.
Yep.
The spork. And you can just have we just carry the super powerful, the all light matches that you can buy that are pretty cheap, but they're, the windproof ones.
Yeah.
And it doesn't add that much weight in the pack. And then obviously the freeze dried meal those don't weigh hardly anything either. So yeah, you're talking minimal room taken up in the bag of your pack and minimal weight. And I mean, literally, I remember the first time I packed one, and I was like, oh, I'm going to pack 2. I'm going to want one for lunch, want one for out there. And I was like, I ate the one, like I tried to just prolong my morning. I had kind of like late lunch, and I was good.
Yeah.
Like I just buy the 2-serving one. You just plow it, and it fills you up. Like you're really surprised how you're not that hungry, and you obviously just have like a bar or something in the late afternoon before the hike out or something. Always that, at least that's what worked for me.
Yep, that's similar to me. I'd like to throw a Snickers in every once in a while.
Snickers is my go-to.
Yep, that's sometimes it's a take 2, one for the morning and one for the afternoon.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I do a lot of the trail mix or like some sort of supplement bar. And then I like to have, like, back at the truck, I like to have sandwiches. Like,
you've always been a sandwich guy. Like back when we hunted our first hunt together, way back when we were hunting, like you were always packing us in, like. We were living on trail mix and stuff, and you were eating a good sandwich. We were just kind of like, you want to trade a little like Pop-Tart and some trail mix for one of your sandwiches?
No, I don't want your Pop-Tarts, but you can have a sandwich.
Like literally, that's what it was. Like we just never.
It was pretty funny because I remember Matthew's eyes just like lighting up when I pulled these sandwiches out that day, like the 4th day we were out there, and his eyes were like, oh.
Poor starving cameraman.
Yeah,
he was so stoked. Yeah, because like a lot of times we've even gone to like not even doing like sandwich bread, and we just buy tortilla shells and then actually put like meat and cheese into tortilla shells, so you're not dealing with like squished up, mushed up stuff, which that's been really good. But then over time, of course, you get tired of everything when you do too much of it.
You do, yep. And same thing with getting back late. You can snack all day, and sometimes you get back at like, earlier in the season, you're back at 8:30, 9 o'clock by the time you hike out. And
it's late.
Yep. I do a lot of, at the one cabin that we stay at is like crock pot stuff.
The best, dude. Best option you can do is crock pot.
Throw some sloppy joes in there.
Yep.
And you come back and pile a couple of those in. Or, we did chili. Not really as smart if you're hiking back in.
Right.
You're going to be bringing some extra toilet paper the next day.
Yeah.
But
be smelling it up too.
Yeah, stuff like that. We did like pulled pork.
Yep.
Just throw it in the crock pot. I got one with a timer on it, so I can set it to whatever time.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually something that me and my wife do late summer a lot of times. And I know Justin, I actually got this from Justin, because obviously, he's making a living as a guide, so he's living in his camper how many days a year.
Right.
And getting back late. And so him and his wife, we got this from them, they prep meals actually and freeze them in like the gallon bags, 2-gallon bags. And so we started doing that late summer, early fall, and planning for specific outings where we would make different meals that were, good freezable, and then you throw them in the crock pot before you left. And you get back at night, and because the last thing you want to do is make something when you're tired.
Oh no.
And you won't.
Never.
And then what happens? We go back to the how do you perform well on a hunt? How do you have higher morale on a hunt? How do you feel better longer? Nutrition and hydration, right? So when you're taking care of these things when you know you're probably less apt to eat something good, or just go to the local bar or restaurant and get a crappy burger or something, like you can actually eat a little better, get better macronutrient profiles, and actually perform better on the hunt because you did this extra pre-work late summer and plan for some of these outings that you're going to have.
Yeah, that's very true. The cooking when you get back, you're like, oh, I'll bring all this food. Then even, it sounds bad, but even like grilling burgers.
Yeah.
When you get back, if you bring a pound of hamburger and it's thawed out, even like making that, it's an hour.
It's still an hour.
By the time and it's going to be 10 o'clock and then your eyes are hardly open.
And we did that down in New Mexico this year in February with Travis Stevens. Like he brought like 30 pounds of beef and so we kind of like felt obligated But like, and he brought his smoker, like he brought his Green Mountain, so like it was that extra bit of excitement to actually like we were eating good.
Yep.
But yeah, every evening, like you get back. Luckily, it was getting darker a little earlier, so we had that extra time back at camp anyway. But you still have that moment of you get back to camp, kick your feet up, and you relax a little bit, and you don't want to get back up.
Nope.
Like, you know, luckily Travis was there, and he was like, no, I'm cooking these for you guys. Because I don't think I would have got up and cooked it. I would have been like, yeah, I'll make a sandwich or, you know, something easy. But, like, dude, we ate good because, you know, he did have that stuff ready to go. He had everything planned. And then we just cooked, like, a starch potatoes or noodles to go with the steaks. And we ate dang good, man. All because of a little pre-thought.
It's making me hungry just talking
about
it.
A little pre-thought out. Goes a long ways when it comes to playing. And dude, those are like key topics I do now kind of automatically, but I don't talk about. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Like that's
no, I was just kind of going through. I just got the letter from Justin, the email.
Yeah.
And he kind of had the gear list, and I was going through the gear list. I'm like, cool, I got that. What in the world do I need that for? You know,
sure,
that type of stuff.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, I guess I do need that. You know, and the same thing, different area to hunt, you need different things.
New arsenals.
Yes. Yep. I personally don't carry a GPS with me. That's one of the things that I think if I kind of know the areas I'm going, and I have cell service.
Sure.
So I don't necessarily need it.
Yep.
I don't know down there. You know, I know you carry a GPS with you.
Yep.
What's your advantage, you think, for around?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on, you know, like you said, like we can in South Dakota in a lot of the spots. Obviously, we have cell service, so you can run, you know, either the South Dakota plat maps right off your phone. You can run Onyx off your phone, and even with Onyx now, you know, you can download offline
right
with some of the stuff right off the phone. I've never been a big fan of just working it off my phone, so that's why I carry a Garmin with me. The reason I like that model too is a lot of features on it. I can scroll around. I have the radio on it. Like when I'm down in New Mexico, me and Justin utilize the radio, especially on our odd-ad hunt, a lot because we'll split up a lot. And so that radio is nice. Even on that elk hunt once in a while, like if you can link these two GPSs.
Sure.
So like when we're doing a call sequence, a lot of times we'll be just out of sight of each other, but I can just tap button and it'll update my location. And so he can flank me or move alongside me where he's calling behind me and I'm moving in on a bull. And so he can constantly see where I'm at, even though visually he can't see me. On a screen, he can see me and he can kind of know where he needs to work on what side of me to hopefully call in this bull. And so different, obviously, you know, that's a little higher end GPS. You don't have to spend that amount to have those features. You can have your basic features where you're just getting your maps. I am just super picky about knowing exactly where I'm at. I hunt so much public land. I just don't want to get on the wrong piece by accident. So I'm like nonstop looking down at my like checking. I just kind of the way I am. And then, dude, I've recently in the last couple of years really got into just reading topos because I've hiked so much. And so like not wasting extra energy hiking out when I could have hiked out on an easier route. Even if it's a quarter mile longer or half mile longer, if it's easier and to save some energy, save some legs.
Yep.
I really get excited about looking at that and studying that kind of stuff now. Or just studying the topo on it and when I'm sitting on the hill midday, I mean, like, dude, there's a good little draw right there that I've never actually went and looked in. I didn't really know it was there until I looked on the topo. Like, shoot, I need to go check that out. So
I definitely, and that's one thing that, like, this time of year, when I'm itching to do something, and it's still spring and wet and muddy, and you can't really do a whole lot, just looking at Google Earth and looking at different ways to get places.
Yeah.
I know I have one way that it's an extra quarter mile, but it is a nice, easy 2-track walk, and which it's not as much going in, but coming out.
Saves you coming out?
When I'm tired.
Yeah.
I did the whole, hey, I'm going to cut kitty corner and shave this off. and I had this like vertical steep ascent to get out, and I got up there, I'm like, I am never doing that again.
Yeah.
That crushed me.
The shortest isn't always the best option.
No, and the other thing too is some of those areas out west, it may look flat, and then you get cliffed up, and you're still gonna walk a couple hundred yards
to find stuff.
To find a little cattle trail to get down, and you couldn't see that from where you were glassing at. That's one of the things with going after deer. They get in those little cuts, and you think you're like, yes, I got him pinpoint. And I ran into this last year. I'm like, I know right where he is. I know right where he's bedded down. He's in this cut. And here I about killed myself getting over there, getting through this really nasty cut, and I jumped over a hole, and I grabbed on this little piece of grass, and I looked down, and it's like 12 feet down in this hole. I'm like, oh crap, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
I would have been stuck in there.
Right.
Only to get up on top of the hill, and I'm panting away, waiting to go another 200 yards, and he's sitting at 80 yards staring at me. Hey, how are you?
Picked you out.
Shoot, you know, and then he took off, and here I thought, oh yeah, all I gotta do is hop over to there and get there, and
stuff changes when you start walking.
Yeah. So yeah, looking at those maps and then coming back and looking, I'm like, yep, that was a little bit hard. It's a little bit harder to pick up on that smaller stuff, but the bigger hills and you can definitely tell, like in the grasslands, where if you've got any vegetation down in some of those valleys, that's going to hold deer down in there.
Right.
And where if you get out there and you drive and you look and you're like, oh, it's flat from here to 8 miles away, which I line of sight.
Right.
But within that, there's 3 little creek bottoms that are going to hold deer or antelope or whatever.
Well, and that's the other thing too is like you said, when you're cutting across a little area, there's a ton of little creek bottoms and stuff that you have to cross that hold, actually some of them hold water in there, like you can't even jump across them. You got to find little areas to cross. So there's always those little variables out here in South Dakota too that you'll run into, which I'm sure you run into everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So always cool. Different hunt options. This time of year is always exciting because you're closing out, man. The last year's done. It's over. You're starting to get some, if you had something as a taxidermist, you're maybe getting it back, which is exciting. Applications are open in our home state of South Dakota as well as everywhere else, and closed, and results are coming out in a lot of states already. Still a few more to get done, but just an exciting time of year. It's really start to be thinking about all these things. It's time to start thinking about our gear list. It's thinking about your physical preparations, thinking about your nutrition, all these little things that they do help you get over that peak of this time of year where you're like, there's nothing, it's just shooting my bow or shooting my rifle. Or, those, I find the training, I find the nutrition, the applications, all those little things just help me bridge that gap and make it a year-long endeavor for me.
Yeah.
And to really enjoy the actual hunt when that comes is all this pre-work. It just ties it all together.
Well, and I think, like we said, the gear, what's in your pack. This time of year, a lot of the new gear comes out like right before or right during the season. Now where, like the SHOT Shows and stuff are all
wrapped up.
Yep. And you can kind of see like what's gimmicky stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go with that. But I like to make like my gear list. I'll put a couple of things on my list that are priority that I really want to, save for, and get those two or three pieces of gear, and then other stuff I'll put on that list, and I'll just be like, I don't think I really need that, or that can wait. But time to research stuff, and reviews on stuff is huge. Yeah, packs is a huge thing. We could go into another hour on packs.
Dude, so easy. There's some good ones out there now.
There is.
The options are way better than they were even just 3-4 years ago. It's phenomenal.
Yep.
It's exciting.
Just how they ride, the main thing, and what guys are finding out where that weight's.
Yep. Your torso length, everything else. Just makes a difference. You got to almost put a few on. You almost got them to just purchase one or two and make the mistake of, hey, this one just doesn't fit me. Or if you're lucky enough to get to a show that has, because some of these packs are only sold online.
Right.
That's
the hard thing.
They're only sold online, but the nice thing about those is they are typically pretty dang high quality. You're probably not going to be too disappointed in them.
Yep.
And you can order one in, try it on, check it out, and send it back.
Yes, they have a really good return
Right.
policy for those ones.
So this time of year is a great time to do that, because a lot of the times they'll be a little bit back order. They're going to take a few weeks for you to get in. Don't wait until August when you're going out and you have to leave August 27th for your September 1st hunt, and you're mid-August trying to order that pack. This is that time of year you need to start thinking about it, looking at them, saving up, and get that thing ordered by mid-May and June. Get that thing on and get it ordered, so you're not stuck with buying one at Cabela's that you're not happy with.
Right, just to get you by.
Just to get you by.
So
and then
you got your Christmas list.
Well, and price-wise, you're spending like half to 3/4 of the same amount buying one that you really don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So don't, you're already investing that money. Get the right one for you.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things, too, the quality of equipment.
Yeah.
I can't say enough for, I know when I started hunting, I didn't spend as much on it. I wanted to get the most stuff for the least amount of money. Well, 2 years down the road when that stuff's broken or you have blisters on your feet or anything like that, I think now it's more going for less quantity and more quality gear. And same thing with that pack is hands down, that's probably where you start.
Yeah.
You're going to be way happier with the pack that wears well.
Yeah, I've gone through a lot of hunts with a mid-range, mid-price pack that I pushed way too hard and then finally bit the bullet and spent the money on it. And I was so mad that I wasted 4 years with this. It was not a bad pack. It's just I was hunting way harder and past what that pack was able to do. Yep. And I'm like, why didn't I just invest the extra couple $100 and be much happier, So
and it's different too, because you can't now. You might be able to get away with one pack, but a lot of the times, like if I'm sitting in a tree stand, I don't want a huge day pack. I want something.
You don't want your Icon Pro 4500.
No, I want some small backpack with just minimal stuff in it.
Right. So having that option, and that might be something where you can get away with a cheaper pack. You don't have to have a super high end pack for something like that. Maybe So.
Yeah, but the day trips, the couple day trips, packing out 20 to 50 pounds of meat, if you're splitting it with a guy, maybe you're lucky enough to have somebody come out and help you pack out. So, but you're still going to have all your gear, your 20 to 30 pound pack plus meat on top of that.
Right.
So you definitely want
your
something.
Optics, hauling everything. It all just stacks up. It always does. I'm always surprised when I'm like, dude, packing in light, like this is good, and I get on my back. I'm like, where? Like, it's not heavy, but I'm like, there's more here than what I thought. Like, I do it all the time too. It's like you turn into a gear snob and you end up putting too much stuff. And I always have a few things in my pack that never get pulled out all year, but I'm like, I feel like I might need it.
Oh yeah.
I always feel like I might need that.
I might need 9 feet of paracord in case I need to climb my way.
I've never done that. I got about 3 feet in mine, but really I should probably have about 6 to 9 feet for like if you were elk hunting and needed to strap a little extra on or something. I don't know. You can use up so faster than you think though.
What I know, there's one thing that I really hit and miss when you talk to people.
Sure.
Do you conceal and carry when you archery hunt?
Dude, I try to. Like, literally, we were shed hunting this weekend, and we were out west, and yeah, man, like I always usually have my Glock strapped on my pack anymore. And just some of the areas I hunt, I feel more comfortable just having something with me. You know what I mean? So I try to, like, if I forget it, I'm not stressing out by any means, but yeah, dude, I try to just do that frequently anymore. Yeah. So it's just, I always think it's a good idea. Like, you're out, obviously I don't need a firearm to hunt anything, but it's just to have it on me. You know what I mean? I feel the extra security. You hear weird stories about mountain lion attacking the Fort Collins runner. Like, you hear about these random things. Well, we have a pretty prominent lion population in South Dakota now. Like, we always have a boatload of coyotes, and obviously I am never stressed about a stupid coyote, but you hear the random story about some dude that 2 coyotes or 3 coyotes or something messed with. Obviously, the guy was just fine, but you always, like, there's always a weird story you hear, and I'm like,
Bobcat sneaks up on somebody who's sitting there glassing.
And for how many hours I spend in the field a year, I'm like, statistically, I have a higher chance of something like that happening just because I'm out there nonstop. So I'm like, it wouldn't be that fun having an arrow trying to poke a cougar.
No.
Like, or just even just trying to go full draw on something that was 10 yards away. It's just, I'd much rather just be able to draw a pistol and have it as an option if I needed it. Like, probably never going to have to use it.
Right.
Hope I don't have to. But you know what? It doesn't weigh a whole lot, and I'm going to throw it on the pack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you.
You've always done it. You did it before I did.
Yeah. I've kind of got, on the waist belt of my pack, I've got a nice little pocket that I can throw it in, and the weight's right on my waist, so it's not like it's up in my pocket, or I don't have a holster on my hip, or it's not, inside the waistband on my back where my pack's riding.
Right.
But it's right there. And some of those, again, I may be, a little bit to the east of grizzly bear country, but when you're packing out meat, you're pretty much a walking lunch for any carnivore. Yeah. So it could be...
You get something that's hungry, a little mentally messed up, and they're hungry.
Oh, yeah. Rabid, anything.
Dude, you can't say it can't happen.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Even in nowhere, not that big of a deal, South Dakota.
Your story of nose to nose with a badger.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you could be stocking up on something.
Yep, that was crazy. That badger's... skinned out in my garage now because of it. But yeah, exactly. Like something I wasn't expecting, crawling up on a deer. Yep. And I come around this little deal, and next thing I know, I got this badger pissed off right in front of me. I mean, yeah, just weird. Weird things happen.
Yep.
Weird things happen to people, and less chance of being a statistic, hopefully, by throwing the pistol on the side pouch.
Yeah, I know it is legal here in South Dakota. Yep. If you have your conceal and carry, you can carry while you're bow hunting, which is nice. It's just that little extra security blanket of who knows what. So
yeah, I think that's another good topic. You're full of good topics, dude. Make him the official co-host of the Live Beyond Average podcast.
There we go. Just keep coming up with these ideas.
Yeah, you got any more topics you want to cover today? We got into it pretty farther than I thought we would.
I don't think so. I think
let's end it with this. Let's do like a little question to end the day. Like for you, and even our viewers can jump in on this too. If you're watching this or you listen to this, drop us a note on Instagram. Tag us, or on Twitter at Run2Gun on Instagram. And what is your top tier bucket list hunt that you're mentally prepping for, or even financially prepping for, that you want to do sometime soon? What is it? You have to answer it.
Mine is probably elk.
Okay.
Just because I've never done it before. Yeah. And archery elk is like my top. The oryx and Barbary sheep, that was literally, it was down on my list because I didn't think it was possible.
Right.
And now I drew it, I'm like, okay, now that goes right up to the top. But mule deer, I love chasing mule deer. Yep. Whitetail, it's hard because I lost my private land that I had. It got sold. Just one of the things that happens. Yep. So that's just kind of moved down my list. But man, if I could draw an archery elk tag and get that bull to scream in my face, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd wet my pants. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so the archery elk hunt. Oh man, I'm saving up for dull sheep right now. Just the sheep fund, man. Just every little bit that I can throw in there. Yep. I know it's going to take me a long time. It's going to be probably like a 5-6 year endeavor to save up to be able to do it. But and that's hoping nothing emergency happens where I got to use that fund for something else. So there's always that chance. But hopefully it's something we get done in the next 4 or 5 years. And so let's hear your guys's. Even shoot it on a story and tag us on your story on Instagram so we can see it and share it. We want to see what your guys' top tier bucket list hunt is that you want to accomplish. Thanks for jumping on the Live Beyond Average podcast today, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.